Hi there, welcome everybody. Another Wednesday, another wonderful Earth Nouveau session. Today we want to talk about dream time. And Martina and I were chatting and thought this is so relevant at the moment to talk about our dreaming world. The dreams we're having, everyone I talk to seems to be having loads of dreams and seems to be very, very active in the dreaming world. So what does it mean? We've got a dream time awakening, which we've learned about. Not many, we were discussing this as well, not many people actually talk about a dream time awakening, which is our connection in the dreaming world. So I thought, first of all, what is dream time? Where does this come from? And when I went online, I had a look and it comes up with the Aboriginals. And I found this fascinating. When the anthropologists came to get the translations,
Whoa. What happened? We can't hear you, Babs. You lost your voice. Not just yet, please.
No, I tell you what happened. I got a call. So I need to stop my call somehow, and I don't know how to do that. Okay, just one of those things. Okay, where did we get to? Airplane mode. Thank you, Sean. Well, that stopped my calls. Yeah, okay, right. So the anthropologists came up with several different translations from the Aboriginal words for dream time. One of them is everywhen, which I think is a wonderful description. Then there's unfixed in time, world dawn, abiding events, and abiding. And I just printed off a little thing I'd like to read you of the Aboriginals' concept of dreaming space or dream time. Translated is, as good as they could do it, the anthropologists, is an all-embracing concept that provides rules for living a moral code, as well as rules for interacting with the natural environment, provides for a total integrated way of life, a lived daily reality. It embraces past, present, and future. And it also suggests that the relationship between people, plants, animals, and the physical features of the land, the knowledge of how these relationships came to be, what they mean, and how they need to be maintained in daily life and ceremony, is all for the Aboriginals what dream time means. So I thought that was, it really does, it sort of means everything in no time. So as we know, it's where our dreaming body goes to do its no time work. So past, present, and future work. And it's infinite, isn't it? When we go into our dreaming space, our dreams, we can do almost anything we want to do. So we thought we'd like to take this a bit further and look at how can we have some control over what we're dreaming. We're all dreaming a lot. We're all obviously doing a lot of work, and there's many different things we do in our dream time too. So one example is we go and collect soul shards for ourselves or other people, if that is what we're doing this lifetime. So there's a number of different things that we do in dream time. We can heal ourselves in dream time. We can recover energy in dream time. We recalibrate in dream time. And our dreaming body also has its own missions. And I think as masters, we could step into now looking at how can we make sure the I am is in charge of that dreaming body so that we can actually accomplish more in our dreaming world. So I'm going to give you just a couple of examples to kick it off of things, work, the great work that I've done in dream time. So one of the things I've been doing is collecting soul shards for myself and others. So I was collecting a soul shard for a member of my family who'd actually been in wars, and he'd actually collected body parts from fields. And obviously that is very distressing, leaves a lot of trauma. So one night, I wasn't even thinking about this. I went to sleep and I had a dream where I was in a hell realm, and there was all these different forms of torture going on in front of me, but I felt no fear at all. And I was sort of standing on a precipice looking at a very large room where all this was going on, and a big hand came to one side and pushed all of me out the way, all of me that I feel, it's quite difficult to explain, pushed me out the way and said, "She is not to be touched." And that meant then I could go on and do my work and collect the soul shard. Now that was all of the dream I had. I had no more of that. I don't know what shard I brought back. I did know afterwards who it was for. I only know I was doing that because I had, I think we did it on mentorship, didn't we, Martina? And I told this story and Andrew said, you were in a hell realm collecting soul shards.
Yeah, I think
for so-and-so. And I realized I was in a hell realm and I didn't understand why I wasn't to be touched. And Andrew explained to me that's the universal rule. So that's just one example. Other examples is just standing up and sort of being authoritative and saying I was protecting the partner I was with at the time, and I was being authoritative with my big sort of staff covered in feathers, and I said, you're not having him back. He's staying here. You're not having him back into the dark. So that's just I have, like you, a lot of different dreams, but I just thought those two can give you some idea of the sort of work we're doing in awareness or unawareness. I did remember those, and that also brings us to the importance of writing down our dreams, because to journal them and not arrive at a conclusion with one dream, because the dream time's infinite. It's in no time. So we could go back into that space, that dreaming space again, and carry on with that work. I think this is it's just, for me, and talking to Martina yesterday, this is just such it's so valid at this time of the awakening, to actually be aware of the work we're doing in our dream time and actually prepare ourselves to go and do that work, because it is a dream time awakening. So I'm sure we can come up with lots of ideas, all of us, of how we can prepare ourselves to do that. I mean, I have learned things like, face west when you're going, because that west is the dream time doorway. So face west when you're going to sleep, or you've heard many things from Andrew about protection on your dreaming journey, and set your agenda to your dreaming body. Tell your dreaming body, just like you would your precogs, what it is you want to achieve in this dream time. I mean, I do it, sometimes I do it, I think I've said this before, for my ancestry, my family tree. When I've a missing link on a name, I've put that out there and had a result. And I've written it all down and not realized what it was till later, because we don't often get all the dreams. Sometimes we miss bits. So there's so much I think the dreaming world can give us if we're prepared to tune into it and work with our dreaming body, not let it go off rampant.
No, thanks, Laura. I mean, there's so many things that coming up as you just, speak with all of that, because, first of all, I want to thank Amy here, because she was the one who brought it up. In you sent us a message and said, why don't we talk about dreams? And I'm like, okay, interesting. And only in the last 2 days, when I started thinking, so what are we going to talk about, I had a realization that we have actually reached a level of mastery, self-healing on this group, where we have to acknowledge, just like what Laura said, this is a Dreamtime Awakening. And if we are not dreaming, and if we are not working with our dreams, if we're not connecting and understanding what dreaming is actually all about, then we cannot call ourselves awakened beings. I mean, awakened, I don't do that word anyway. I don't really understand it. I always say, self-development. But for me, what that has done, that yesterday's and today's, because I rewatched 2 of Andrew's Dreamtime Part 1 and Part 2, where he's actually doing readings in the earlier days for people. And I have heard it before, but actually I have not. Because for the first time I realized, oh my God, if we don't understand what we're doing in our dreams, what kind of dreaming bodies do we have? Okay, because there's all different kinds of dreaming bodies. This is the next level of exploration. And that's why I want to thank Amy for bringing it up, because I've got to the stage where I'm thinking, okay, what's next? What's next, right? We talk about self-healing, self-mastery, that. And what's next is the dreaming world. Because, as he so nicely says in those 2 shows, this is the finite world we're living in. This is the fiction, right? The dream world is the infinite world. This is where we actually really live and create from, to be honest, most of us, in awareness or unawareness. And for me, certainly, I've totally fucking realized my purpose. I've been looking for purpose, we all do. And I realize now, well, my purpose is the work that I do in a dream time. Now, the question is, how do I translate that, into this fiction world here, into this matrix? But I wonder how many of us actually do already work with that dream time in unawareness. And Laura, you were saying something. You were saying that you collected that chart, and it's almost like, it sounds like your dreaming body is a healer, is a protector, is a surgeon, right? Dreamtime surgery. And I'm thinking what we could do. My dreaming body is different. I looked at that when I listened to those 2 things. Yes, I can do that too whilst, I do that, but there's a different significance, because my dreams in the last couple of weeks and months have shown me that I do something different. I seem to be one of those dream travelers. And I'm not saying one is just one. Yeah, we're all, hold on, let me just admit Chris here. But what for me comes through my dreaming body is very much a networker. It's going to all the different Dreamtime societies and communities and picking up different souls from the void space and bringing them through portals. I've had so many dreams where I find myself on a train station or at a train station. And there's so many people, and I'm like, okay, come through. And I'm like, who are these people? I have no idea who they are, and stuff like that. So I have been doing a lot of that. And in one of the recordings, he's actually talking to a guy, and he says, you're bringing people through, beings through to earth to connect through our soul, because we have the soul shards. So we bring them through so they can become the teachers that we require, other dimensional teachers that we require in this awakening. And I think for the first time I realized, I understood when he talks about Dreamtime Awakening. We have to think Dreamtime. How much work are we doing in Dreamtime? And then I would say that all this sovereignty and self-mastery and everything that we have learned in this fictional reality that we find ourselves in, we have to apply to the Dreamtime world too. Does that somehow resonate?
Yes, Martina, it really resonated with me. And also what Laura said resonated with me with regards to the, my question to Laura is, you did say that you collected these charts. So before you, this particular dream, before you, the one that you shared, did you have the intention, or did you ask yourself, I'm going to do this, or it just happened?
Okay, I didn't have the intention to go and collect a shard that night in my dream time, but I had been working with this person to try and heal some of the trauma and obviously the haunting that would come with somebody who has to pick up body parts, because it's almost, unless you're, you know, very high frequency and highly protected, if you're collecting body parts from a war zone, you know, the spirits are going to cling to you like anything, aren't they, as you know, for life. So I had been working with him for quite a while, doing various things, and he was actually, the interesting thing was, he was staying with me at the time. So, but then again, how relevant is that? Because, you know, you can be the other side of the world in dream time. It doesn't matter. We know that. So no, I didn't have the intention, which actually highlights, Andrea, thanks for bringing that up. So if you do have the intention and you're doing all the work, how much more can you achieve like that? But of course, not stepping on another's journey. So you have to be, I guess, careful you're not stepping on a journey. But that's the question. That's quite an interesting one. The I am's in charge of the dreaming body. So do you have to instruct them not to tread on somebody's journey, or does that just get taken over? Because sometimes your dreaming body can do things that you don't necessarily want them to do. Any thoughts?
If I can chime in here, I understand that the dreaming body is a different light body.
Yeah.
Literally a different light body. It's not a shard, it's not a part, it's not an avatar, it's not connected to the, you know, like a near-death experience or something. It's literally a different light body of yours, okay, that you work with. So I think, and there is, as you mentioned before, there is rebellious dreaming bodies out there that do the empathy route just like our bodies, and we do here, where they go into all these different places where they just want to heal people and, you know, empathetic and all of that, which does not actually work in our favor, because it takes so much energy. So when we wake up in the morning and the dreaming body comes back in, you know, through the digestive system, we are absolutely exhausted. If we have that type of dream, then we know that the dreaming body is gone awry and it's doing its own thing, and it's not in communion and you know, harmony with what you actually want to achieve. So I think the best way of looking at it, and I've looked at this yesterday, we always say, you know, we have a body, but we are not the body, right? So we always try to get a connection and a communication going with the body, like what you want to wear, what you want to eat, and all of that, right? So I'm actually looking at what does your, and actually let's look at all of that. What does your dreaming body look like? And when I say look like, don't necessarily have to get a visual as such, but get a feeling, get a sense, perceive who or what does your dreaming body look like? Because it's a completely different sort of entity almost. We have to start connecting with and strengthening the connection with in order to really start creating. SpongeBob, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Nicola.
What does it look like to you? Get a sense of that. Just, you know, close your eyes if you want, take a breath, because, you know, it's like, yeah, we don't have to really sleep. You know, we don't have to go into a theta. We can go into a theta state right now by just closing our eyes and taking a couple of breaths. You don't need to be in deep delta in order to connect to your dreaming body. And just get a sense, what is it like? What is your dreaming body like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Does it say something to you? And let's just explore that. Now, is he a healer? Is he a networker? Is he a traveler? Is he a seer? Is he a grid worker? Just think of just like what we are here now. And it doesn't necessarily mean that what you are here now as your dreaming body has the same agenda. For me, that doesn't seem to be the case. There seem to be some similarities, but there seems to be something else. So just get a sense of that and then just throw in some stuff. We're not that many people today. So maybe you want to use your raise your hands and just give us an idea. What do you get when you ask, dreaming body, show yourself to me?
What you got, Chris?
Go for it, Laura.
I forgot to unmute myself. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Chris.
My dream body, whenever I've had what I call living dreams, and they're experiences that I come back actually feeling very, very energized. I feel the opposite of most normal, what I call earthly dreams, which then deplete me. But these particular ones that I go to and come back from, I'm actually me. The thing is, I see myself.
Okay.
I don't see anything different other than myself. I learned how to do it a good number of years ago. I didn't know anything about lucid dreaming or anything like that. In a way, this is what you could see it as being lucid dreaming, because I actually do have some control in what I experience. But the first time it happened to me, my psychic teacher said to me, okay, you want to go and have an out-of-body experience? I said, yeah, I'd love to try it, because I'd read a bit about it. And my teacher said to me, okay, then just ask the universe to do it. And literally that same night, I became a really weird feeling. It's like being Superman, leaving your body. You suddenly feel such a great freedom that actually the body becomes quite dense to how you feel it. And I could literally, I went along the South Downs Way. I could tell you every pebble on the way there and on the way back, trees, animals, everything. Went through the Channel Tunnel before it was being used, went into the middle of France. I don't know where I went into France, but when I came back, I was so awake. I absolutely felt like I'd found the real true me, the spiritual me. And it was being reaffirmed by going through this experience. And that's just one of them. I've had many since then. Just an idea for you anyway. I saw myself anyway.
Fantastic. Now, Chris, let me just say something here. Let me just ask you a question here. You mentioned out-of-body experience. The mechanics of out-of-body experience are different to the dreaming body.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's just and just look at that from that perspective, because an out-of-body experience is basically where you take yourself out of the body.
Yeah.
You stay connected to the body. Yeah. So you can see yourself lying down there. I don't know if you experience that. And then you go as you, right? And you go, it's almost like a bit of astral travel, what I'm hearing.
Well, at the time, I wondered whether it was something like astral traveling or something like that myself, and not a dream, because I felt it was too alive for me. It's like literally hitting a piece of wood. It was that alive. The detail was so much that it must have been something like astral traveling. And actually at the time, now I remember, it was that sort of thing I was looking at doing. But since then, I've been to places all over the world. I've been to other places I visited, and even places that aren't of this world. We all remember Dolores Cannon. She has a school on the other side. I actually visited there. Now, I didn't ask to go there. I happened to do it twice. But came back feeling so invigorated, as if I'd been to the light and back, as it were. So for me, it was a living dream, what I call a living dream.
Yeah.
A reality rather than a non-reality, or just a story.
Sorry, as Martina said, the mechanics are different, because I think out of body is heart, third eye, and crown chakra, isn't it? Dreaming body is dropping down and coming out the root chakra.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the main thing is, and Chris, you just said it, if you come back and you feel invigorated and full of energy, then there's nothing wrong with whatever you do. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. You know, that's always the indication. But if you do come back and you're absolutely exhausted, because that's the one thing with astral travel, which is always, you have to be really, really very empowered, fully sovereign, very protected, very fortified in order to know what you're doing when you astral travel.
Yeah, I don't do that very often, but certainly the dreaming side of things is one. And of course, I have like anybody else, I still have dreams that are really totally unexplainable, as into my conscious and awareness. I'm always dreaming of power animals and things like that.
So
Which
who are you when you're going back to what Martina asked us originally? Like,
Me.
you are you? Because
Me.
I find I change according to my agenda. So I could be quite shamanic if I've got some heavy stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
I've met myself as me in history as a cavalier, you know, with the big hat and the long gloves. So we almost, well, we can. Our dreaming body shapeshift, don't they? According to
its energy. So in theory, yes, it should be able to. It should become any form that you want to be in, as far as I understand it, because of the energy, the aspect of energy being so malleable to the way that mind and thought can work. But I've always seen as me. I've always seen everything as me. I've not transferred into anything else. Not yet, anyway.
What about anyone else's experiences on that?
Can I just? Oh, sorry. I have a question, but I put it in the Zoom chat.
And people.
Okay, go on, Amy.
Amy, you wait.
Okay, so I'm a little confused now from what Chris said about astral travel and dreaming, because now I'm thinking some of my dreams are detailed, some of them I just see a blip of something. Because some of mine are very detailed. So I don't know if you can explain again, because sometimes I before I fall asleep, my third eye gives me these little like codes and geometric shapes. Yeah. And they go really fast and they just drop down like this right in front of my, and then I'm off to sleep.
Yeah, it can happen in many ways. I don't know, Martina, I might get this right, I might not get it right. Astral traveling is something where I consciously decided what to do. In other words, I asked the universe that I could go and do it. So in other words, I had control over what I experienced. And in that environment, I do actually have control. And I learned quite early on, after doing this a few times, that I could actually control what I was experiencing out of the body, literally as astral traveling or an out-of-body experience. But the dreams that I have, I don't actually have control. These are like storylines that are relevant to teaching me something. And invariably they do, very, very deep. Most of them are very deep. Like the experience I had with Dolores Cannon. I was in her school there was about 30 other beings, and I'm not talking about just humans, I'm talking about all shapes and energies. But when I know that I've done that sort of good dreaming, as I call it, that is when I come back feeling exhilarated and full of energy. But like you, just before I go to sleep, my mind is full of images, suggestions, ideas. Even day-to-day stuff comes into it, but it's all mangled in. But that's when I suppose my head sort of goes, okay, this is time for the soul, rather than the physical body's mental capacities still continuing. So for me, astral traveling is a conscious decision to do something. And I still do it because I like doing it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, then mine's, I don't know that I do consciously say, I want to go here or there. I just ask a question, what do I need to know today? What do I need to know? So that might be different, but I don't always get these codes or these shapes, but
there's always some form of what I call precursor to experiences like this, and invariably it is in the form of pictorial, because that's the easiest route that I've found that the universe gets to me to draw me into perhaps an experience during the night. And I'm going to have 2 or 3 dreams a night, and I do write them down because some of them are very poignant as to things that are going on in my life. We do get signposts, but actually it's a they're all metaphors. They're all metaphorical journeys. But those ones I don't control. They are the universe literally talking to me, instead of, whereas astral traveling is, I want to go and do this, can I go and do it? And I go and see the place. And I've been to people's houses, so I actually describe the inside of houses. So that to me is astral traveling. I'm leaving my body as a light body and going to somewhere. Whereas so I'm under control of that one. But the other ones I don't. They are universal. And I never know what the experience is going to be. But I do know 2 things. One is that you come back feeling really good, or as Martina has mentioned, you come back feeling very tired. And for me, the tired ones are the ones that are not ones I wish to go for. It means that I'm perhaps not listening properly. So it's lower energy for me. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Chris.
Thanks. Do you want to say something to that, Laura, in terms of the
No,
mechanics of the dreaming body?
Yeah, just thanks, Chris. You do have a wonderful dream time. No, but it's just my understanding, Martina, you can help me on this one. So we have our dreaming body, then we have outer body experiences, of which I think Chris is describing. And my understanding, astral travel is when you actually go to your astral worlds in the North Pole, in the Aurora Borealis. Is that something you've learned, Martina? No?
Okay, so I understand. Is the main difference, and I like what you say, Chris, on the one thing, you know, is that you are going in with a complete, this is when you do astral travel, you know what you're doing, you're protecting yourself, you're going through the tube and everything, you go to the various places and all of that. And you have a sort of control over it. Yeah. Now with a dream, you say you don't have a control over it, and there is relevance to that, but we want to actually get to a stage where you also have control over your dreams. It's just the mechanics are slightly different. When the dream time mechanics is, remember when Andrew was saying, and obviously that's his teaching because that's where we're taking it from, is we're not just coming out of the crown like Laura explained for the astral, for the outer body experience. You're actually dropping, and again, I think there's a significance to that, to realize that the dreaming body is a separate light body. All right, it's a separate light body we have to make friends with. So we're dropping from the crown into the third eye, down into the throat, down into the heart, all the way down into the sacrum, right? So it's actually what happens is the physical body shuts down, goes into dream paralysis, for the dreaming body that lives in the belly button, in the digestive system, in the gut, 2 centimeters below, you know, the dantian, as some know. And the dreaming body leaves the body as the physical body goes into paralysis. Yeah. So there is not much control you have over the dreaming body when you are in paralysis. And this is why you actually, before that body, the dreaming body leaves the body, you have to put your intention forward and say, look, this is what I want to do, or ask a question. And then actually start. And this is what we need to do now, is to really start having the stamina and the determination, the courage and the practice, the communication with our dreaming bodies, so that we can start trusting them. Because the dreaming body sometimes is just like parasympathetic. It's just, fuck you guys, I'm just going to do my own thing. They are rebellious dreaming bodies. And this is why we have those dream time revocations, where we have to clear all our programs and all our dream time nightmares and dream time junk and trash, you know, that we have accumulated over some time, in order to start really having that proper communication with our dreaming bodies. Now, when we then start lucid dreaming, this is where the control comes back in. So lucid dreaming, and I'm not a lucid dreamer, not at least that I'm not acknowledging it. I think I do at some stage, but you can be in a dream, for instance, where shit happens and you're not happy with it in your dream. where you can actually say, okay, hang on a second, I'm in this dream now, my dreaming body, this is you, we are in this dream, let's change it. Instead of being dragged behind the horse, you know, just say, oh, cut the strings, just start flying away. That's part of that control that we have as lucid dreamers. And part of the Dreamtime Awakening is to really learn how to lucid dream and it starts with realizing that we have a dreaming body that is different from our physical body. Start making friends with it, start communicating, start asking questions, because this is when it gets interesting now. When we are in dream time and we are lucid dreamers, we can actually start really, really good questions that we want to probably ask a guy like Andrew. Because in that space, we're infinite. We're in that infinite space where everything is possible. And this is why it's quite fun to look at what does your dreaming body look like? When I look at my dreaming body, like I did just before we came on, I said, what do you look like? And I was like, well, I can't really tell you, because just like what Laura said, it's almost like a shapeshifter. It gave me a spiral, just a spiral. And depending where I go, which dream society, which dream city, which dream connection I move into, it changes. It's almost like it crystallizes, it adapts to where it is. Which again is really funky, because that's what we're going to be doing with our bodies at some stage after, you know, we have implemented all those energies and that new consciousness.
Right, 2 minutes, Martina. Thanks for that. I just want to read this because I've got a definition of astral travel from Andrew, which will make things a lot clearer. And then I'd like to go back to hear from everybody how they see their dreaming body, which was Martina's question, if that's okay. All right, astral travel is a living in our body experience where our dreaming mind can be part of astral cities. If we consciously astral travel while awake, we are projecting our mind somewhere where physically and psychically some type of presence somewhere. And those realities are very light density realities. So we can use our conscious skills there and manifest energy frequencies, such as speaking to other beings, such as encountering doors in rooms, seeing whole vast cities, walking on city streets in open pastures. That all exists there, but it is our ability to perceive it, receive it, and then process in this I am presence what we are co-experiencing here, what the body is telling us, as well as what the mind frequencies that are somewhere else are telling us. Those two layers of perception are commonly called astral travel. So I think that actually fits very well in what Chris was telling us with what you've been doing. Sounds like astral travel. Does that make things a little bit clearer?
My only thing would be I've had astral traveling is what I call controlled. In other words, you are conscious of where and what you're doing.
Yeah, he says it because it can be done while you're awake as well.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I firmly believe you can do. I can go and see people's. I can astral travel my body, my light body, if you like, somewhere else. I see it as a sort of an aspect of my higher consciousness, my light energy, and projecting me, because we can project energy anywhere we want to be. This is why healing works so well. The time I sort of questioned about dreaming is one experience I had. You could say I actually asked for this to happen, because I wanted to meet ET, and I did go and meet ET. And it was in the UK, it was in a place in Wales. I could describe every single detail of it, but actually I didn't ask to do something specific, but when I was there, I was able to actually interact with the other people that were meeting ET at the same time. And boy, did I come back feeling brilliant. I felt so much love. It was just unbelievable. So when people say ET is a bad thing, it's not. It's a bloody good thing. they're really light. But that to me would be is partial dream, partial what I would call astral traveling, but it's probably not. It's probably lucid dreaming, because I'm actually having a control.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Lana, I think you've just put something up. You'll have to listen to that again. What I will do is I will put it on our hub, that definition, afterwards, or with the Zoom or something, so that we've actually got that definition. Okay, and then you've all got it. I don't know how to copy and paste it now onto the chat, so I'll do that for you later. Okay, so let's get back to Martina's original question. What do our dreaming bodies look like? Amy, were you telling us
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah, mine, the image I got was just more like light, like just very soft and floaty, like one big piece of light, kind of formed, but it's kind of has this color of very, very, very pale blue. And it just, that's how it goes out of my body that way. But it's me. I'm like, Chris, it's like me. I feel like I'm watching everything in my dream. So yeah, very fluid. It was very fluid feeling.
So is it easy for you to communicate with it, to talk to it, to ask it questions?
Yeah, when you say that, it's almost as if I don't separate it from me. I just ask myself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when I'm talking before I go to sleep, it's me, but I never really thought of like, oh, let me talk to my dreaming body. I never labeled it as that.
And
So,
you know that you're absolutely right, and Chris is of course right too. There is no such thing as a disconnection because we're all one. It's just when we start working with something that we want to get into a bit more, to really start creating a relationship, it's like male, female, all that type of stuff. It's quite nice to get an idea to talk, you know, to start a conversation with, because what is the whole point of having a dreaming body at the end of the day? And you know, to connect into our infinite side and then bringing that infinite information back into the finite here, into that kind of dream that we're here, because we want to start remembering whatever we are doing in our dream time travels and start creating with it here.
that's
Yeah.
a whole different question for me. Like, I know you want to go through, people can, I'll just want to put the question out there now, because it's almost like, yeah, we dream and then we bring it back, but are we to conclude what it is? Are we to say, oh, because I have some really weird ones. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So that's
My experience is very much like Amy's. I experience myself as me, but I don't see me, and I'm not conscious of seeing or feeling any other form. Just that it's like me, an invisible me that's watching everything. And I have really bizarre dreams as well. I don't always. Sometimes they're like resolution dreams, and I can relate it to something that's happened in the day or over the weeks. But sometimes they're just completely bizarre.
Okay, can I just, because we've got so much to say here, which is brilliant. There's a lot going on in the chat I actually want to incorporate. And dear Andrea has had her hand up for ages. 2 minutes, Andrea, I'm coming to you. What was I just going to say? Yes, Amy, what you're saying and what you're saying, Linda, about having a lot happening and do you come to a conclusion? Could you keep that sort of conclusion flexible? So what I do is I write it down and I sit with it. And I might sit with it for a few days, and sometimes, because the problem with coming to a conclusion is there could be more, and you could be cutting off the potential of this infinite dream time giving you more. So if you come to quite a fluid conclusion, if there's such a thing, that you can then say, well, it could potentially be that, but I'm going to sit with this, because our dreaming bodies work in no time. It could be something in the future that we've not experienced yet. Yeah, it could be an answer to something that the question hasn't arisen, if you see what I mean, because we've got one side, as Martina said, that is totally infinite and can be any time or no time, and the other side that's working in this 3D reality. So if you just keep that fluid, as long as you're recording these dreams, and you go back and read them regularly, or make a point of going back to read them, I think you will your intuition, and you will get your own guidance on that, and your belief will give you maybe an answer. Yeah, does that sort of help? The most important thing ever is write it down, and then sit with it. So before we go on, Andrea, you've got your hand up, darling.
Yes, thank you for answering the astral. And Martina, thank you for clarifying that, the dreaming body. And what I wanted to, I have a question as well to Martina or Laura. One day I dreamt I was at the train, there was a train station, and it said, buy a ticket to Shivoham. Obviously I've written everything down. I write my dreams down, and I looked into what it is, what is the meaning of that. So like Laura suggested, I sat with it, and, I just get on with my works. And that, please correct me if I'm wrong. You know that we have the future self list, okay? And for my experience is that my dream reality and my future self list and everything that I have learned so far, it's kind of united. So now when I interpret my dream, I actually, I don't know what's the good word for it. I actually create in the dream time. So whatever I have created in the dream time reality, the infinite, what Martina mentioned, I bring it and translate it into this reality, but it can be a poem, it can be a food, it can be whatever it is. And first and mostly it's a contribution for me, but it's also a contribution. So it's like a domino effect of a contribution to the world or to other people or to it. It's a facilitation or whatever it is. So my question was that the dreamtime reality, when Martina said, what body you see? So if I look back to that train station, I saw a body there, but is it possible to, how can I say, shape shift, as in to create that body into this reality? Because today I was out in the woods and we took a picture, and when I looked at myself, I think I was a different person, but it might not be, but that was my question, whether dreamtime reality and the future self-list has any connection, and also whether we bring that body back here to shape shift in here, or that's just rubbish, or I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
I think yes.
Yeah, I would say yes too. So part of that, especially when you have a dream about train stations and stuff like that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your body, because we're actually in the dream time, we're doing so much work. Because think about this awakening, there's lots of, especially with the extraterrestrials or other dimensional beings, we are here because we've got the soul connections, the soul family. It could have been a soul family that you've been inviting through your dream time to actually come, and you creating that space, you're creating that energy for them to come and materialize almost in this reality.
Okay.
Yeah,
because when you mentioned that you are a networker, a traveler, this came up, the train station, and I bought the ticket and I got on the train. I know exactly what it meant. It was a really good dream. And another dream, a Cadillac came up. I know, and that's, again, I interpreted it into a food and a poem and so on. So when you mentioned that, I thought, oh, okay.
Andrea, that's lovely. It's absolutely lovely, because the Aborigines used to do art of their dream. So you're doing art from your dream. Absolutely.
Yes,
it's how you're translating it, which is absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, I started to do that since, since I had that session with Andrew, my life has totally changed. But of course, I changed my life. So one of the dreams was about that I should be acknowledging that work, and from that, what it came, the fruits of that. Because one day it came up in my dream. It says, "By the fruits you shall be known." And as I was doing my walk in the woods, the fairy walk, I call it, it's just a short walk, and there is a library. And there is always a book for me. And this time the book was the fruits in the UK. So like you can go back to the 1930s and all these origins. So it's like, this is why I asked Martina whether the future self, or Laura, whether the future self, the list, or that the poem or evocation, or how we call it, is in connection with our dreamtime realities. Because you create, you manifest, I manifest with that. Yeah, if you will.
Totally. It's all connected, isn't it?
It's all overlaid, past, present, future, dream time. It's all overlaid, absolutely. And it's the focus.
It's all overlaid.
Whatever.
Yeah, fabulous. I'd like to get to some of those questions in the chat, or comments in the chat that I might have missed. But Chris and someone else were talking about they dream predictive dreams. I've dreamed a lot of predictive dreams. And when I spoke to Andrew about it, he said, that's brilliant because it means you're on the right timeline. So apparently no more than that. It just means you're on the right timeline. So if you're on the right timeline, that's great.
I learned through Dolores Cannon that most of us are living a very scatty life here, making various decisions and getting all higgity-piggledy in it. And then suddenly something happens and snaps, and then we go. And then we find our timeline, and then we follow that timeline. And the only way I've found that it's the right timeline is actually having these, what I call future dreams, which is my soul seeing really the future. But is it the future? Everything's the now. So really at the end of the day, all I'm doing is accessing what is here and now already. But it comes up as a future dream.
Yeah, sure. Great. Right. While I just read the chat and see what we've missed, who else would like to share about how they see their dreaming body? Hello.
All right.
Go on then.
Hi, everybody. I wasn't sure what time. I started an hour ago and I thought I was too early. So dreaming body. I think dreaming body is, to me, it's kind of I guess maybe an ancient civilization view of it. To me, when I think of dream body, I think of the New Zealanders who used to gather together and sleep at night with their heads making a circle so that they shared dream space. And when we're out of this physical body, it's like we're in that dream space. And so to me, your dream body is everything that vibrates faster than this 3D dimension that we are. And so your dream body too, the dreaming of it, that I've had dreams my whole life. In fact, you heard me mention I kind of wanted to shut them down for a while when I was like in my mid-30s. But yeah, I saw pictures of the hole that the Twin Towers left in the ground, and I couldn't figure out why this hole was jagged. And then I saw from like a satellite view the United States, North America, and saw this red triangle pattern that said danger. And then 2 or 3 days later, all of this unfolded with the 9/11. So I don't know if any of that helps or contributes, but that's kind of what came through walking in at this point. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Yes, it does. Yeah, that's great. Predictive dream.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Martina.
Hi, nice to see you.
Question on it?
Sure.
So if you have a dreaming body that predicts stuff, what you going to do with it?
You know, to me, it wasn't something that I was willingly tapping into. It was just something that would be a download. That the dreaming body, if I can kind of slide it a little bit, is that intuitive connection that when you meet someone and spirit says to share something with them, you use it in that capacity to help the other soul in whatever, you know, means you may be able to deliver something.
Okay, same question goes to Chris, because Chris, I saw a note, you were saying you had a premonition of going to a hospital, right? So
Yeah.
no, that was a year ago. Now I'm saying here one thing, guys. Let's work with our dreaming bodies. What are we going to do with it?
Well, I should have learned from that, really. But I didn't. So I then got to the experience, which is what I saw. Many times I have had dreams to the extent of running people's businesses and I'm telling them exactly where they are. A lot of things have happened to me over the years where I predicted, but I've listened and gone and done it. But this one I hadn't done. But it might have been that my life journey was to experience the unknowingness and the helplessness of going into hospital with what I've just been through, or I'm actually still going through, but been through. But I could tell you that the dream was exactly the same as what I experienced. The hospital room, the theatre I was in, the scanning devices, the screens, the doctors, everything was so detailed in my dream. When I came to it, I was gobsmacked. And I just know then, for some unknown reason, I know I was fine. I had no feeling of any fear whatsoever. I just knew, okay, let me get on with it. And that was it, really.
And thank you so much for saying that, because that's exactly Dreamtime Awakening to a certain extent. So there's one way of saying, okay, what can I do about this? And then they're saying, hey, I have already had that deja vu experience. I know I'm going to be okay, right? Another question is, this is obviously an example which is a bit more it's very personal, you know, and all that. But there's lots of examples where we have premonition experiences, and this is what the Dreamtime Awakening is all about. So we're going to find ourselves, you know, in the near future now, having experiences in this fiction, in this reality, in this Dreamtime reality here right now, what we have already experienced in the Dreamtime. How exciting is that? And I love what Chris said, because it was almost like, yes, it was a you know, tough experience, but he knew it was all okay because he already had the experience in the Dreamtime.
Oh, it's a really weird feeling. you get into that sort of scenario, and there you are, got everybody else flying around trying to keep you going, and I just felt, oh, this is fine. This is a good experience, isn't it? This is a bit of fun. And I literally, I mean, I was admittedly I was high on a lot of morphine as well, but I actually felt very, very comfortable. I just totally knew that I was supposed to go through that experience. And there's been many dreams that I've had, and then I've had the experience. And the ones I've actually recognized and done something about have been better experiences or less traumatic, let's say.
Here we go. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for sharing that, because that is like a full-on experience where you've gone into, well, you had a heart attack, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in all intents and purposes, yes. It wasn't quite like that, but yeah.
No, so, and he had experienced that, and he got you through with a tremendous trust that everything is going to be okay. So
Absolutely. It was unbelievably, for me, I mean, my body was going through things, but my actual mind and where I was, I knew I was supposed to be there. I knew I had to go through it. And it was so detailed that I suddenly remembered the whole vision right away through. And I just know, yep, this is it. This is part of my soul path. And that has happened a few times. And when it does, you do feel so much less fear. I mean, I don't fear death anyway, because I've experienced things that tell me otherwise. But this thing, I thought I'd be scared shitless of it, but it didn't. I was actually, oh, okay, oh, what's that do? I was on the theatre table and sort of asking questions of the doctors and things, as if I was just having a normal interaction. But it was because of my dream, I felt comfortable enough to do that. It was like, okay, then your body's going through something. So what? Let's have a add-on experience to that. And it was a learning curve, massive learning curve. But yeah, brilliant. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody, but I was certainly, because it was quite an experience for my body, and I'm still living through the after effects of it. But certainly as a dream and dreaming what I was going to go through, I should really have been more aware of what that dream meant, as in how I could prevent perhaps me going through this experience. But when I was in it, I realized I had to go through it.
Yes. Okay. So that's the one side. And now what about the other side, Laura? Shall we talk about that? What about
Yeah,
the side where when we have a dream, what can we do with it?
Yeah.
Why do we actually write it down? What's the whole purpose of writing dreams down?
Shall I? My interpretation is writing them down is because it triggers then something in your own mind that could be to do with your everyday living. It's like a signpost. I found a lot of my dreams have become very pictorial, but they give me a picture of a scenario or what is going on in my life here and now. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. But for me, they're signposts.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, go Laura.
No, go on.
No,
That's fine.
I'm just thinking, as we're writing these dreams down, because remember, we're creating it all, right? Yes, there's signposts and everything, but we're creating it all at the end of the day. We are the creators of our reality. And the dream time is there to assist us, because that's the infinite side of us. So now, if we're bringing the infinite into the finite here, the whole point of writing it down is to actually allowing that information to come into the body. And that goes back to why do we write, dreams down? Because if we don't, they disappear. We need to literally bring them down as they come in. We need to, because all the dream time memories, again, learned from AB, they're on the skull cap, right? So we need to bring them down from the skull cap where they are all the way down into the body, into that digestive system again. Just because the dreaming body lives in the digestive system doesn't mean that the dreaming memories go into there. So we need to bring them down. As we start writing them down, we have to literally digest them so that they can then go into the bloodstream, into the lymphs, into the limbic system and all of that, right? This is why it is so important to write them down. We need to literally manifest those dream memories. And even if you don't understand them, it doesn't matter. There's so many dreams I've written down. I have no idea what I was doing. And then I watched one of those videos. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is my dream. But it's almost like, it's not outside of yourself, it's you. And it's not divine intervention. It's actually a signpost, like Chris says. Now, the question, what are you going to do with it? This is where we come in, because the I am is in charge, right?
It's all about the choice from the dream. The dream gives you a choice, gives you an interpretation of something. And then we, as in incarnate, have the choice to then decide which way we wish to go with it.
You have, as the I am apex presence, you are the one making the choice. The dream gives you, okay, this is what we got. What you want to do with it? If you don't want to do with it anything, okay, well, then it disappears. And it doesn't disappear. It still stays in your system, in the energy field, wherever that is now, skull cap or in your arse or wherever, if the skull cap is too busy and too full, right? But the question is, how do you got to get down there to get it back up into your awareness?
Yeah. You need to store these, otherwise your dreaming body's got to go out again and again to get you the same message, which it probably gets a bit fed up with. So yeah, it's so important, isn't it, to download all that information.
And I love that, because we do have reoccurring dreams, right? It's almost like if
Yeah.
you don't do it the first time, we're going to give it to you again, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll try it a different way. Yeah, until you get the message. So then what about an agenda? Go on, Robin.
What I was going to say is two things. One, when I used to, before I started saying I didn't want to have the dreams because I was having so much and I didn't know what to do with it. But when I would try to write them, I found it was exhausting because the detail but those that I did get down, I mean, my drawing books became writing books. And going back, reading some of those from the 80s, it's a mess. It's amazing the message that is there for the higher self, regardless of who you are, whether it's me or someone else who would read it. And the other thing that popped in during this last little conversations between the three of you with Chris and Martina and Laura was we exist in, I believe it's 8 physical forms at a time. So we are like really simultaneously existing. So what if at dream time in your dreaming body, that is the time when you are sharing that space of awareness with those other 7 I am presences incarnating now, perhaps on different dimensions, timelines, when I'm not quite clear on that. But what if that's a time, and sometimes when those pieces don't make sense, it's because it's different points of our 8 here now.
Would you like to clarify that 8 here now? I'm not quite sure what you mean with the 8 I am presences.
Well, Andrew has said it, as well as a couple of Native American elders that I know have said, is that when we are here in this 3D I am body in a physical location on Earth, and this year 2021, that we also have 7 other of us incarnating, perhaps on different timelines, perhaps in just different, but the one that we're speaking through now is the apex I am that we're aware of. But what I was saying is, perhaps during that dream time, those pieces that don't seem to fit could possibly be those other 7 reflective facets of us in existence now. Does that make any more sense?
Yeah,
I'm
the 7.
not familiar about the 8 I ams. I'm aware of, we can have thousands I ams.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Martin. We in theory, we should have infinite number, but the way that I sort of understood it through all I've taught, and I've not been taught the same way as you guys, is that every main chakra on the body is a different frequency. And in all intents and purposes, we should be able to access each one of them as a separate entity, which then would be the 8 I am presences from my understanding. I'd agree with Robin in that respect, because of understanding some of the Sanskrit information, the chakra system and how that works. In theory, we could access our ajna, our throat and our heart and our base and solar plexus and so on as a normal thing, if we intend to do it. But actually in dreams, we're probably doing that not via our own intent, but actually doing it as a sort of a natural process, because that's the part of us that needs the attention, if you like.
Right. Okay. So you're linking it to the chakra system. I've just seen Lana saying, you're talking about the 7 future or past generations, maybe too. It doesn't really matter. You're absolutely right. We have access to as many I ams that are out there. Absolutely. And I think what we need to just acknowledge is that the I am apex presence that is you here right now is calling the shots.
Oh
basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
being in the present moment is all you can be. You can't be anything else.
The dreaming body itself, I would not suggest that the dreaming body has anything to do with a different I am. Absolutely not. The dreaming body is part of your I am apex now. You're working with that one. I would say that any I am apex out there, or I am out there, even from, you know, from different mothers, different wombs, has their own dreaming body.
Absolutely.
Does that make any sense? I don't know if I really got what you meant, Robin.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and you know, I'm not going to disagree or say I don't go along with that, because you know, this concept to me was one that, you know, I'm going to say I unfolded over stages recently within the last year. And something that when you and Andrew did the fish meditation, where he walked you through, and we all were, you know, kind of doing our own thing in our space. And somebody came in and they said, well, what if I made 8 points instead of 1 when I landed? And it reminded me of what I'd heard from this Native American elder who, you know, has access to some ancient stuff, which says that in order for a person to be incarnated in a physical body on earth, there are 8 of them. So the only thing was that I was suggesting that not that you all had the same dream space, but that during your dream time, you could communicate, and you may be getting visual and sound communication within it and in your own hub. So it may, you know, that's
absolutely. And this, you're absolutely right, because this is what dream time is all about too. It is for us to connect to our soul families. Yeah, to our shards, and to start dreaming in unity with our shards. Yeah, because you're absolutely right. And thanks for pointing that out, because we've done so much work along those lines to bring our shards, you know, this, what did we do last time? Fetus in the womb, I am individualization process, which is all like to have a logical sort of understanding, if you can call it logical or not, you know, in this reality. Now we need to address that and actually apply that to the dream time as well. The sovereignty, the self-mastery, the self-healing, and all of that, you know.
Perhaps in a way that we might be able to, we could all utilize your question right now. How can we use it in our dream time? You know, perhaps if we're in our dream and something happens and reacting, perhaps if we could set a message to ourselves to give us a message that we're okay, and that we have the power to make a decision in the dream that is good, and we're not like running away, we're standing and doing what we choose to do. So perhaps that might be a good seed to take from, is to have that intent, if you're in the dream space, to bring to your awareness in that dream state. Like I just had a dream the other night, and I was dreaming and I woke up from a dream, and I was looking at the edge of the bed, and there was a mouse, and this old farmhouse has mice. And then I, you know, my first reaction would be to screech, but then I saw Mortimer sitting there, and I go, oh, Mortimer's got it. And I went right back to sleep in the dream. Yeah. And I promptly fell. And when I woke up, I realized what had happened. I was dreaming. I woke up. I saw something that would initially would reacted me to screech and probably jump, to saying it's taken care of and falling peacefully back to sleep. You know, that was a wow, you know? Mm-hmm.
That's a total wow. And that's exactly what we're talking about, taking responsibility in your dream time now, you know?
And that would be a great thing for your question, Martina, that we could all take today to empower ourselves. Just plant that seed that if something happens in my dream time, to recall to that consciousness that I can make a choice or see what's the best thing to do.
Yeah. And also the other thing is, you know, because, you know, so often when we look at imagination in this reality, right? And we say, okay, so I can't imagine things, I can't, it doesn't come to me naturally or something like that. Now, when things come to you in a dream, that is such an amazing gift, right? Because and it's weird, it's wacky, it's different. So you don't want to let go of that, because it is a message of some kind. So we so often try so frantically to come up with pictures and ideas. What if we can just use our dream time? I mean, you could write a whole book, right? Just from the weird shit that you're dreaming, right?
Yes. Yeah.
The question again is, what is my purpose and all of that? And we will probably keep asking that question until we are, out of this body. It's in a dream time often. What does your body do in a dream time, right? Like Laura said, healing, running after soul shards. What do you do in your dream? And what is that actually an indication of what your real purpose is?
And also, yeah, as you say, working together in dream time. It would be interesting little exercise, wouldn't it? Just as the Earth Nouveau Hub, maybe those who are here today or listening, to try and connect in dream time in some way to do our great work. I mean, I don't mean walking the dream streets, beating people up. I mean, actually going out there as a group and doing so, I don't know, doing some good work. I mean, I've worked with Martina and Andrew and the mentorship in dream time. I mean, Martina knows that too, because sometimes you can remember actually the same dream. Now that is the dream time awakening, isn't it?
We meet up all the time in dream and do shit together,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now there's a question from Caroline, right? Did you see that, Laura?
No, go on.
Karma. Do we resolve karma while dreaming? Well, what do you think, Caroline?
Sorry, hi. Well, everybody answered, so yes.
Fuck yes. Absolutely, yes. Because there's no difference. It's, we need to get in, and I need to, okay, speaking for myself here, because, I'm getting really excited about this dream time now, because I have never really looked at it from that perspective that much. I'm really starting to understand that the awakening is happening in dream time.
Yes.
The dream time is much more infinite, right? It's much more exciting.
Yeah, you're going, shoot. Yeah, because in real life, to be here, we've had to shrink to become 3D. So yeah, dream time is like escape. They open the cage door and we're flying free, You're more at your true vibrational, fuller awareness.
So this is interesting, Robin. You just used the name escape. No, it's a very cool word to use, because it's actually escape from this matrix, from that system of domination and control. But it's not escapism.
No.
It's actually a realization, right?
Yes, it's you opening your cage door. You're walking to the edge of it and you're opening up your wings and you're flying back into yourself and understanding that you've pushed yourself down in this little teeny box that became a 3D reality. And when you shut the door, you kind of forgot who you were. So it's kind of like turning around and you find the door, and for whatever reason, you open the door and for whatever reason, with whatever courage, you step through it and you open your wings and you fly, so it's escaping your own bondage of forgetfulness.
Yeah.
So you're not putting the blame on anyone else,
And then you bring your wings back.
Yeah.
This reality.
Yeah. Yes.
But as Shobha said, unlimited potential. Absolutely. In fact, we all need to go and sleep like 24 hours a day, really. Just think how much we could achieve. Yeah, but we got to bring it back. That's the thing, isn't it?
Gotta bring it back.
Do all that work, and we've got to bring it back here and make the adjustments here in 3D. Caroline, you got your hand up, darling.
Yes, I do.
Go on.
I have this practical newbie question, which is I personally have spent years without even remember dreaming, and I've been going back to start of remembering lately. But I was wondering, you guys, from what I've heard of all of Andrew's shows, I'm kind of making a list of steps you can take to improve your connection with dream time.
Go on. What's at the top of that list?
So what I've got,
See.
the top of my list is journaling your dreams,
Okay.
setting an intent to work with your dreaming body, doing dream time revocations, doing the 4 corners of the bed with crystals. And by the way, Laura, I wanted to ask you about that because I thought you had at some point some revocations specific for crystals,
Yeah.
so clearing them or something. So wondering if you could give that one back. Or there's colonics, gut health.
That's fun.
Having no mirrors or reflective surfaces in the bedroom, turn off all screens like an hour before bedtime, having no access to your screens. And that's what I could remember. So my questions is to everyone here. Yeah, I always do that, Sean. Is there other practices that any of you would advise or that you have, or anything else really?
Just quick, turn off your Wi-Fi at night.
Yeah, that too.
Don't sleep with that.
Yeah, and you can get a salt block as well for under your Wi-Fi for when it's on in the day to stop the psychic parasites coming through. You can get Himalayan salt blocks for about a tenner each, £10 each.
Yeah.
So a few dollars, to go under your whatever you have, your
I've read-
broadband stand sort of thing. But for me, just in my experience, colonics makes the biggest difference. I would always put colonics first.
Okay.
I know Andrew is a huge fan of colonics, and doing the detoxing obviously with the colonics. So don't just go and have the colonics. Actually, I did 2 weeks of just a juice for breakfast and a juice for lunch, and then a meal of whatever I wanted in the evening. And the juice was, a sensible juice with lots of veg in and so on. You all know how to do colonics, and then have 2 or 3 in that 2-week period. And I just kept on with a lot of the juicing since then anyway. And Mary, who's not on now, but she would probably say since she's changed her diet to, well, certainly vegetarian for cholesterol reasons, she says her dreaming world has just increased hugely. She was telling us. So I think you've covered pretty much everything on that list, Caroline. Has anyone got anything else? Any other tips? I mean, also I'm told to, I'll just say, add to that. I was told to picture, or Andrew said to picture the Aurora Borealis before you go to sleep as well.
Because this is basically where you're going.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I just thought of too, that, and you did say intent, but just to clarify a little bit, Andrew has said a couple of times to specifically say, I'm going into dream time and I'm safely arriving, or someone is escorting me. I have the place already set, and, with that, to add that type of stuff, sometimes it makes the dreaming transition easier.
Oh, yeah, you can do loads. Also, you could make a willow dream catcher. One of the first things I did, a willow dream catcher to hang over the bed, because willows are for dream times. Obviously, they're a water tree. They grow in a lot of water, emotion, and so on, astral. So there are lots of things. And related to what I say over the crystals, Caroline, I'll put that up for you somewhere, probably in the hub later. But you can just do your own. You just you want to be protected in your dream time. You only want to dream with your soul family and your ancestors. You don't want anything else disturbing your dream time, because it's your birthright and legacy to have dream time with your ancestors, with your soul family. But I'll write that out for you and put it up in the hub.
Thank you.
So name it to claim it, speak it out loud before
Yeah.
you go to bed.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
A few questions down. Now the other thing is, Dream Lodge. What is, where do you go? Again, imagination. Do you go to an office? Do you go to a big fire, place or something? Really start getting the imagination going before you even go to bed, so that your dreaming body knows what you're aiming at, that it can come back towards that, So let's meet at that place. And then we have a discussion what we're going to do.
You're kind of creating your own personal bus stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any of that, whatever works for you. Yeah. And
Fabulous.
you guys were talking about the salt. You can put the salt underneath in a zip bag underneath the pillow too.
Mm-hmm.
Or back of your neck, isn't it? And base of your spine. And a little tip, because I always found the plastic irritating, slightly sweaty, and it crinkled. So I got an old sock, 2 old socks, because you can actually put the medical tape over the sock, and the sock doesn't crinkle, and it's actually more comfortable. If you put too much salt in it, isn't very comfortable either, as I've known to my cost. So a sock for your tailbone and a sock for the back of your neck. Now, Andrea has asked, what happens if a recurring dream stops? I mean, for me, then you've got what was needed out of that.
Karmic resolution. I'd
Yeah.
say so. You're done with it?
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. And karma too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, where are we going with this? Who's got some questions we haven't covered? Sean.
Hi.
Nice to see you, darling.
Nice
Come
to
on
see
then.
you. Loving the topic. I forget the question, how you phrased it like 2 or 3 minutes ago, but it was something like, who else has something to offer? We've covered a lot. There's a lot to cover. Obviously one of the go-to people for dreams is like, this
An Austrian man.
Austrian, right? For any fellow students of Andrew Bartzis, there's a couple
Oh, yes.
go-tos. And I found her like 25 years ago through this, and it's like fantastic. And I started getting into the Jungian dream interpretation like 15 years ago. And then I started playing around with, okay, if I look at all the dream symbols while I'm awake, and I look at all the medicine symbols when I'm asleep, they still work. So that was like mind blowing, which kind of bridges to another one of Andrew's favorite books, like looking at waking life as a dream. So, and there was something else, I can't lay my fingers on it, but another good one is like Dream Yoga by like Chogyam Rinpoche or something like that. Anyway, just throwing out titles. That's all I got.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Lana's asked thank you, Sean. Lana's asked a question in the chat about the different levels. Sorry, Lana, I didn't see it earlier. The different levels, density levels that the dreaming body goes through. Now, did we slightly cover that, Martina, when you were going through about how the technical aspects of the dreaming body? Let's just read the question again. Oh, the density levels that the dreaming, where's it gone? Body goes through before you wake up. That's why you do not remember some of your dreams. Okay. Yeah. I don't know much about that, so I happily hand that over to Martina.
I mean, look, we all know when we wake up and we feel like shit, that we had a dense dream, basically. Mm-hmm. But that still doesn't mean that we can't write it down. And I think it's a great question, because it doesn't matter how dense it is. Write it down, and even if you don't get a story or a full picture or anything, just write I sometimes just write the feeling down. How did I feel about that? And then I think, especially when you have a dream that is dense and that is slightly unsettling or something, just carry on, because you know there's no difference between those realms and this realm. Just carry on as if you'd still be dreaming, and start asking questions. You know, we often get so hung up about, oh, I'm not a lucid dreamer or something. Well, you are, because as soon as you're awake, you can still pretend you're lucid, right? You're lucid then, and then you just keep working with that material, right? Whatever came up. And then as you do that, I think another way of getting rid of a density in a dream is really sharing it with a mate, with somebody, just by sharing it. And it doesn't even have to be a good friend or anything, just anyone. Share it, because as you start talking about it, happens so often to me, even if the person doesn't understand what you're saying, you're getting your own realizations as you just talk about it.
Does Lana do you mean more the density levels that the dreaming body goes through before it comes back into the body?
Yes, what I was trying to say is that I remember a while ago, Andrew talked about when you dream, sometimes you don't remember the dream, and the reason is because you are, I guess, so far up in density, and that might not be the right interpretation, but that's the only word I could think of. And then you drop down these different levels in order to get back to your body. And so it could be the reason why you wake up in the morning and you can't remember a thing that you dreamt that night.
Yeah, I understand that question, Lana, and yes,
okay.
So you can be dreaming some very high frequency dreams, and
Correct,
has
that's
been
the
my
word.
experience. Yeah, fine. My experience recently, just because of my own situation, if you're in sort of, you're living more adrenal, out of your comfort zone, or in a different situation, not totally relaxed, then in order for me to remember that dream, it's quite difficult, because it has to go from what could potentially be a high frequency dream back into, let's say, a slightly worried, slightly adrenal run energy field. So it's just not always there for me to be able to remember the dream. I'm not sure what it is that takes over. It could be the parasympathetic and so on that takes over and says, no, you're not remembering this. You've got to remember this today. You've got to get up. You've got to go and do this today. And I think there are phases in our life we go to, and when we're in lovely, very relaxed phases, then for a period of time, then I think it's actually, we're more easily able to remember those high frequency dreams. Actually, because you can wake up in the morning, and I've been sort of over the last 6 months, sometimes it's like, oh, where am I today? Or what's happening in my life, because I've had a certain degree of discomfort. Nothing bad, but not, I've had 16 years in one house and suddenly I'm not. So I've lost a lot of the dream remembering capabilities that I had, but I know that will come back. When I get into relaxed mode, then I think I will be more able to remember them and wake up gradually. So it's a gradual wake up, isn't it? The actual mechanics of how the dreaming body comes back in is just a reverse to the way it goes out, isn't it, Martina? It comes back into the root chakra.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's helpful to you, Lana.
Yes. My phone's ringing here, so excuse the phone. I'm going to mute myself for a second, but I would like to come back in.
Okay, sure. Yeah, do.
So even more so when we sleep in other people's houses and stuff like that, we have to acknowledge that we're sharing dream time with the people in the house. We're sharing dream time in a different city, in a different village with the neighbors and everything. Even more so, it is really important not to give up. It doesn't matter how dense the bloody thing is. You write down whatever you can, because there's no difference between you and the dreaming body at the end of the day, and you can fill in the blanks. And who
Yeah.
says blanks are wrong? You're still filling them in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's just getting out of the adrenal sort of worry zone.
Yeah.
So you're in your more high frequency state to download the dream.
Well, what I feel is that some of us are doing work in the dream time that when we wake up, it's sort of like deliberate. We should not remember that because the work is too intense over there, and so it's sort of a protection for us in a way.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It doesn't work for me, no.
Well,
Doesn't
it
work for
depends
me
on
because-
your sort of mastery level, doesn't it? Because your dreaming body might decide all the work it's done is you're not quite ready to download. But then, having said that, that then takes away your I am presence being in control, and that's against everything that we're saying here. Is your I am presence has got to be the one that's in control of that. I mean, if the decision then goes to your I am presence, which says, no, we don't want her to remember that until she is ready for that information, that's just beyond me there.
No, that's just an arrogant dreaming body, and I'm not having that. I'm sorry. No, I appreciate my dreaming body and everything.
Yeah.
I'm the I am apex here. I want to know what's going on, what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're not making my decisions for me.
I understand to my dreaming body going all over the place, and I have no idea what I'm doing. It could be unsovereign. I mean,
Yeah.
that in itself is and I love it because it's a red flag for me. And hang on a second, babes. What is that? No.
Oh,
I'm happy to
and
do
another thing,
I'm happy to do
Going-
those things out there, but I need to know what we're doing in order to do it, right? Amy,
Go on,
sorry.
Donna.
oh, to go along with that, because I was writing down when Laura was talking, I just from what you all three said, I think you need to acknowledge, like, I can't remember my dream. Otherwise, then I am the one that's, what were you just saying? I lost the words. Is not in control. You're bringing it back into, oh, I just acknowledge I don't remember it. I think that's important.
Yes, without a
Yeah.
judgment and all of that,
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
when you get that real message now, you don't need to know, then it's a bit like, hang on a second, I'm not sure about that. Why? That's a bit of a red flag, let's put it like that. For me anyway.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to work in co-creation, right? There's no hierarchy, there's no competition, there's co-creation. So there need to be an open sheet. We need to be in an open, because otherwise I have no choice. And choice is the key for everything, right? I mean, there's so much we don't know anyway, still, out of ignorance, because we can't remember it yet. We have to make peace with that, and I'm happy to acknowledge that. Jesus, I'm the first one to acknowledge that. But if I get a message, no, you don't need to know, then, but that's just me. Now, I'd like Richard Winter. Come on, Richard, before we close down here. You said you had an amazing dream. Do you want to share that with us?
Well, I just have loads of I don't have the dreams that I know what I'm dreaming. I just have the dreams that are just crazy, that every single part of my life plus the future all melded into one. And last night I said to my guardians and God, I said, give me a dream that's clear and I can work with.
We're losing you a little bit. Is it just me or?
Yeah, I've not got good reception here.
Yeah.
And
I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I had a nightmare after asking for something I could clearly understand. I had a nightmare, which I clearly understood. And it's like your intent and how descriptive you can be, what you ask for is exactly what you get really in that sort of dream, because you do get to your level of awareness, to your level of responsibility, for sure. But yeah, it's so much fun. I can't wait to go to bed.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks, Richard, for sharing.
That's all right.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah,
in
lovely to hear from all of you.
Sunny Cornwall. Guys, there were two things you wanted me to put up on the hub. One was the crystal revocation. What was the other thing?
About the dreaming.
Astral thingy.
Oh, the astral. Lovely. Thank you. Great. Okay. So how are we doing here? Has anybody got anything else they'd like to ask?
Can I ask Martina something?
Yeah, go on.
Or Laura.
Go on. Dream time revocation. Yeah.
You know, Martina put out a link with that. Well, I have seen one of the movies. I think this is the second part, which is coming up for me now to watch it. And I'm going to, I think it's going to be my Easter revival. No, but I think it's the Avatar movie, Martina. So I don't know whether that one I watched because you recommended the first one. So in that movie, you know, there are these capsules and they go in there and they wake up and go in their dreams. And, you know, there are some creatures and there is the woman, there is a dragon or whatever. And from what I'm getting from you, what you're speaking is that life will look like here. So it is like, because I'm practicing these things, I'm translating, manifesting with my Dreamtime reality. For me, it's like normal, but maybe for somebody they think I'm going nuts. But is that what is going to happen to us, that it is going to become that normal, that movie, what this movie that we're going to do? That is that what is coming? Is that what will be in the new normal will be, if you will?
I've sort of lost the question there.
You know that in that movie they go into their dream reality. Have you seen?
Oh, see, I don't know the movie, so
Martina has seen it. Martina has seen it.
Look, all I can say is it very much depends, you know, what your bubble of reality is going to be like. What is it that you're going to create? Because remember, we're going to have all these different earths, different bubbles of realities, depending on what you're going to create. So it's a possibility, absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, yes.
Because that would be exciting.
Oh, absolutely. And this is exciting.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is very
Because
exciting.
when me and you spoke about it, you said that's going to become, like, it's possible that it is going to become here. So, you know.
It is whatever it is going to be for you, whatever you're creating. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why Andrew says we're dreaming it into existence. And what I think is amazing is we are all in Earth streaming mind.
Mm-hmm.
That is just like, yeah, absolutely credit to AB, because he really has helped me understand this.
Absolutely. We are actually co-creating with it, right?
Yeah. Oh, you want
and
to
the Earth streaming mind is in Hollow Earth. So there are lots of people who have dreams in Hollow Earth, because the dreaming mind of Earth is in Earth, in Hollow Earth. So we are
but that's why I was
co-creating
asking. Yeah.
through our Andrea, don't come in. We are co-creating with the dreaming body of the Earth through the contracts that we have contracted out by coming here. Sorry, Andrea, go for it.
No, what I'm saying is this hub that we have here can potentially become the avatar that move, you know, we can create that, right? We could. I mean, it's a possibility, it's a potentiality. If you know, I mean, we could be the first ones.
We could, right.
I think
Okay, let's have.
I'm gonna close off. My internet is I'm gonna get my video off. My internet is going a little bit here. I'm gonna stop my video.
Okay, you stay there. And great one, Lana, about dreaming Andrew. So perhaps we could finish off because it's about 10 to 7 now. So let's finish off with, if you've had a dream about Andrew, I'll kick it off, and it's really short. I saw Andrew as President of the United States of America. So that's fun. So anybody who's got anything you want to share where you've dreamt about Andrew, give us one and we'll
I have
move on.
one.
Go on, Amy.
I was asking Andrew what kind of pickup truck I should buy. Not that I'm buying one, it was just, what kind of truck should I buy?
That's brilliant. Who else?
I want to say something. I've had many dreams with Andrew, but one that was a really fun that I had not so long ago was that, and I can't remember the whole dream, but I had wrote it down. We were all sitting around, and I don't know who we are, but I would assume that it was us here in a circle, and we were all smoking cigars. And Andrew was among all of us, and he was also smoking. And I remember in the dream that I didn't inhale the smoke of the cigar. I was just smoking, and we were just having a jolly good time. And that was about it. That's all I can remember from the dream. But I thought that was fun.
Beautiful. Didn't inhale. Beautiful. Go on. Who else?
I got one.
Go on, Sean.
A couple months ago, I dreamt that it was like a workshop, and there was like, I don't know, I'm going by feel. I think there were like 100 or couple hundred of us there, and I was in the lunch buffet line, and Andrew and I were just shooting the shit and getting lunch.
That sounds pretty normal.
Great.
Who else? Who else before we get to Martina, because she's got to have one to share as well. We've both had lots of dreams and together, so you'll have one to share, Martina. Who else? Who else has had a dream with? Hi, Ditina.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? We're just winding up now, but we're just asking everybody who had a dream with Andrew if they want to share.
Oh my gosh, I had one a while back, about maybe 6 months ago. And we were in this big, giant, old, kind of like haunted house. And we kept exploring these floors and little back stairways that were going up and stuff, like just hidden rooms and like weird staircases. And then the weirdest thing was at the very end of the dream, we went up to the very, very top, and there was this like banister, huge bed, and I laid down, and then he laid down behind me and he spooned me. That was like so weird, and I got up like, what? I mean, we had our clothes on and everything, but it was just, yeah.
I'm wondering if it's because Andrew's had soul family with everybody, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So this would be why everybody has a dream with Andrew, I guess. Great one, Tina.
Yeah,
Anyone
hi
else?
everybody.
I'm fine. Anyone else before we go? Anyone want to share any more Andrew dreams? Oh, are we all a bit shy?
I don't have any.
Okay. Really? Okay.
No, I've like stepped through and seen him in other times, but I can't recall dreaming with him or having him appear in a dream.
Not in your dream, but you stepped through what and seen him on other timelines, did you say?
Yeah. I did a drawing when I first found him in March of 17. It didn't take me long I found he was a speaker on another radio show. And so then I flipped and I started listening to him and took his class. and he had recommended some books and some movies. And so it was during those, like doing what he recommended at the time, it was like I would tap in and I would see his face. And, you know, I knew it was Andrew, but it was different somehow. But yeah, not in, only in that fashion, not in dream time that I can actually recall.
I've seen him reading the Galactic News.
Cool.
From Hollow Earth. Yeah. Oh, there's so many. So if nobody else has any more to share, Martina, can you hear us? Or have you got...
Wait.
Oh. What you got, Sean?
I forgot.
Go on.
There's like 15 graphic novels that the guy started writing them in '89.
Yeah.
And, I started reading them in like '95. So I finished them when he finished them in '96. And they are called The Sandman. And there's a lot, and they're really dense. There's a lot of mysticism, and they're so mystical and so dense and so multi-layered that I completely missed that they're horror.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely horror, and that's not my genre. I'm not into horror. But it's so multi-layered and so mystical and so interweaving, and he connects a lot of the same dots that Andrew connects. Like I'm like this close to bringing up Neil Gaiman. There he is, that guy.
Lovely. Thank you, Sean.
Right? I'm this close to bringing him up like so often. But I haven't yet until now.
Well, thank you for doing it now on our Zoom.
You're welcome. And tangentially, he also wrote something in '90 and '91 called Books of Magic, about a short, brown-haired, glasses-wearing 11-year-old kid who suddenly finds out that he's the wizard of the age.
Well, sounds like Harry Potter, doesn't it?
And he gains a pet owl, and he gets tutored by all this.
Really? Wow.
So I'm pretty sure he was receiving the same like universal current that then he did one graphic novel and then he got out. He handed it off, but then 4 years later, obviously JK, I think received the same universal current. And then she like really fleshed it out. But
that's a much nicer way than saying channeled. Universal current. I shall use that. A Seanism. Thank you very much.
Anyway, so
Thank you.
if you're of a mind, this is definitely worth checking out. It's like there's a lot of material there, and he hits so many different points.
Brilliant. Thank you.
As I said, it is a graphic novel, so
comic book.
Oh, pictures, Sean.
Well, I guess the distinction between a graphic novel and a comic book is there's one story arc that goes through, and it's not like a soap opera where they just like do nothing and then they leave you with a cliffhanger. Like there is actually a coherent story.
Yeah.
But yeah, comic book.
Well, my son did the manga, and they had a storyline more so than the old comic books.
Right, guys. So we know to go away and have our colonics, make our willow dream catchers, put salt under our pillow, do the revocations I'm going to put up on the As Nouveau hub, and all have sweet, wonderful dreams. All
Did you
of
guys
you.
start
And
this 2 hours ago? I'm sorry. Did you start this 2 hours ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because when I
Yeah.
tried to tap in at that time, so I'm just trying to figure out, so the days I'm available, I can do it on time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Robin. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you all here. And I'm going to see you in the dream time, hopefully, as we've spent 2 hours together tonight. I
See you
look
in the
forward to
dream
that. What mischief we can get up to.
Bye, everybody.
We're all going to go and steal
Bye.
everyone's book.
Bye. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.
Hi, guys.
Bye,
See you,
everyone.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.